All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. And today we're just taking a quick look at this Sunlite fork mount. It's a bike mount for my mountain bike, and it's mounted to the Utili-Track system in the Nissan Titan. Now, if you're not familiar with this type of mount system, you do need a bike that has a through axle, basically, which allows you to basically take the axle out and then run it through here. And then you're gonna have the fork mounted onto the mount. All right, so once you have the axle out, the spindle, you're just gonna go ahead and remove the tire. One thing you don't wanna do is press the brakes, because those calipers might close, and they're supposedly a pain in the ass to get open. Okay, once you have it out, we're gonna mount it here. This is probably the most difficult part about this mount setup. It's kind of tricky. It's just kind of a pain in the ass. So once you get that in, you're just going to screw it back, basically spin it. Until you're somewhat tight again. And then from there, you're just going to secure it as best you can. Close that back up. And there you go. We're all mounted up. So it's kind of the setup. This is the finished product. We're mounted up here. Back up. This is kind of how it's going to sit. How it's going to look in the truck. And then this bike's pretty big. This is a stump jumper. I featured it in a previous video if you want to check that out. But when you close it up, you pretty much have zero clearance on this bike. The only other thing here is I have basically a tie down that came with the Utili-Track system. And then I took like a GoPro strap and just sort of anchored that down to the back of the tire. But honestly, probably don't even need that really. That's just a backup because this is, it doesn't really go anywhere. So again, that's the completed thing. And just to wrap up, I'll show you kind of what all the pieces that you need, but more or less 20 bucks in hardware. As long as, again, like I said, you have the Utili-Track system in your truck and you can get this set up. And just so you can see how this sits, how high it sits, that's more or less what we're talking about in terms of the handlebars. The handlebars sit just above the cab, so they're slightly higher, but not too bad. If you're back here, that's more or less what you'd see in terms of the handlebars. So fairly low. It's a short bed. This is a 5.7, so that's why you can't really get the full bike in here. You kind of got to dismount the tire, but this works well. The only issue is now I'm getting a tonneau cover on the bed, and so I'm going to take this out and then I'll show you like the bits and pieces, and I'll have to find a new setup shortly. Thinking about going with either a tailgate pad on the back here, tailgate pad, or a rail system that goes above the bed. So I'll have it sitting up higher. The only issue is that it's going to sit, the bike's going to sit up higher on the truck. That's the con. The good news is I won't have to dismount the tire, and I just have to get it up onto the bed, or on top of the bed. So a couple options, but for now, this is what I'm working with. But like I said, it's going away, so I figured before it goes away, I'd show you the bits and pieces just in case you're interested in setting something up. Okay, so this is the bracket. This is the mount that was there. It's got 3 holes. I'm not sure the thread on this middle one, it's smaller than the ones on the outside. But in terms of hardware, this piece doesn't come with any hardware. This black piece, the mount itself, doesn't come with the hardware. So you have to go to like Lowe's or Home Depot, some hardware store to just pick up. I picked up some stainless hex bolts. These are like 1 inch. I think they're 1/4 inch in terms of the thread. So I got those, some small washers. I think they're size 12 12 washers. And then the only other piece of hardware that you need are these, which basically allow you to get into the Utili-Track system. So these are, I think they're called cone nuts. Basically, they allow you to, you can pop these out. They just sort of swivel once they're in. It's hard to shoot and do this at the same time. There we go. So this is what we're talking about. Basically, you can put them in sideways. You see the way they're angled. And then once they're in the track, then you just rotate them and then you slide them into place. And then you can basically bolt into the, you basically just screw in to the threads. And that's it. So it comes out pretty easily. Like I said, the only other hardware that you need is right here. Washer, 1-inch bolt, and these cone nut washers, I believe. All of these are available at your local hardware store. This in particular, I picked all this stuff up at Lowe's. Again, the hardware is pretty cheap, less than $5 for all the bolts, and you can have backups. But all you really need are 2 for the mount. And then, like I said, that was there. And that was the setup. So if you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to for more videos about the bike and this truck. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.